Half a day, Tirawami, and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is Tuesday, July 26, 2011. Some $64 million in Recovery Act funds has yet to be issued to the CNMI, and all that money could be at risk now. This after the Interior's Inspector General found that a local contractor violated CNMI ethics laws. Channel 2 Washington correspondent Matt Kay reports.
Congressman Greg Kilili Sablan says he'll fight to prevent ARRA grants from being cut off over the sole source contract Governor Fitial awarded Michael Atta's IPS. But Sablan adds,
clearly that is part of the risk, and the Commonwealth has been awarded $115 million as of March and received $51 million.
Leaving some $64 million Interior and other agencies are now looking at in the wake of the OIG report. And Sablan argues the people of the Commonwealth should not have to pay back the $51 million already spent to keep teachers and others on the job.
The people of the Commonwealth didn't break the law, so they shouldn't be punished. And if anything, that contract, that money that has been paid out should be returned to the Commonwealth government.
The IPS contract is worth more than $392,000, much of it already paid out using Federal Recovery Act money, when Interior's IG says the deal likely violated local ethics laws. Asked if the contract is now null and void, as the Interior IG suggests, Sablan had this.
Watching the report on television by the Attorney General, by Mr. Buckingham, he said that IPS still has a contract despite the violation and despite the IG report.
But if there were violations, Sablan was asked why U.S. Attorney in Guam, Alicia Lim Tiaco, declined to prosecute.
I haven't had a chance to speak to the United States Attorney, to Ms. Lim Tiaco. I will try to speak to her. I would also try to speak to some people here within the Department of Justice and to find out what's the reason for declining. She must have had her reasons, but at the moment I don't know what her reasons are.
Sablan's office has now asked program managers in the NMI to look for any sign of new grant problems, like one earlier where the U.S. Education Department held up over $3 million over an IRS reporting issue. That problem was eventually resolved. On Capitol Hill, Matt Kay for KSPN, Channel 2 News.
And Acting Governor Eloy Enos breaks his silence on the controversial ARRA management contract and the Attorney General's role in approving it.
His number one job is that he essentially serves as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer for the Commonwealth. And with that, he makes sure that laws are followed, and that enforced, and that when the law is broken or violated, that he must take appropriate action.
Interior's Inspector General has found the contract to Integrated Professional Solutions appears to violate multiple CNMI ethics and procurement rules. Enos says the Attorney General's opinion was a major factor in executing the contract.
A lot of it seemed to me like everyone pretty much relied on the Attorney General's recommendation, which was he did the balancing act. And, since he's the Attorney General, everyone seemed to, thought that, we were legally okay even with the balancing act, and, that's a little strange.
Enos says he had raised ethical concerns with then Secretary of Commerce and now IPS Principal Michael Atta, but he hadn't had a chance to consult with the AG.
Mr. Atta came up and asked, told me about what he planned to do, and I told him that I think we need to he needs to do further research on that area. There are potential conflicts simply because he was involved in the putting together the program, had intimate knowledge of the program and so forth. So, no, I did not advise against the contract because by the time I knew about it, the contract had already been executed.
Enos says public confidence in government is paramount.
The public confidence must be restored and must be assured. And not just the Attorney General's office, but in every public office in this government, because it belongs to the people.
Meanwhile, Governor Fitial is in Pohnpei attending the Micronesian Chief Executive Summit. Enos says he has not been able to speak with the governor on the Inspector General's report yet, but he will.
The plan of action that we take in response to this should give sufficient notice that this will not happen again, or that we'll take a more careful look on contracts coming in to ensure that the ethics laws as well as other laws governing the use of funds, not just federal but local, are complied with.
U.S. Attorney for Guam and CNMI Alicia Limtiaco has declined to comment on the Inspector General's report, saying the matter is currently pending and under review by her office. The public auditor did release a statement today, though not directly on the IG report. Mike Pai says his office did not leak any confidential reports to the press, contrary to what Attorney General Ed Buckingham has publicly stated. Pai also says his office is retaining the services of attorney Sean Frink to represent OPA in a lawsuit that has been filed against them by the AG and Secretary of Finance. The suit seeks to invalidate 2 of OPA's contracts for legal services. Pai says the lawsuit challenges OPA's autonomy and its ability to serve the public effectively and will unfortunately use public funds.